client asked me today, she was using a USB and the USB was messing up. The USB port was having some issue where if she moved around her microphone, then it'd be a little disconnection. So basically it would stop working through her microphone, and her system on her computer automatically switched the microphone to a different system, like making it so that she was now using a terrible microphone. And so she said, should I switch to XLR? And I said, yeah, you probably could. And she was asking, like, what is the only reason I'm switching to XLR? Is it because this USB is funky, or is there other value that I get with an XLR cable? And here's what I shared with her. It was interesting because I had never thought about it this way. But I asked her, I said, Mim, do you know how to drive a manual transmission? She's about my age, and people our age, generally speaking, we learned how to drive a stick shift. Anyone younger than me probably doesn't know. We probably just used what's called an automatic transmission. And think of this is a vehicle, and the XLR and the USB are very similar to what vehicles are. There are pros and cons to XLR, and there are pros and cons to USB. And I think of it like when you learn how to use a manual transmission car, if you put that thing into third gear, it's definitely going to be in third gear unless the car is literally broken. If you put it in third gear, it's in third gear. If you put it in fourth gear, it's in fourth gear. If you got it in reverse, it's in reverse. It will always work the way that it should work because it's manual. You're the one using the stick shift, putting it into gear and everything. You've got that third pedal, and it can be a little overwhelming. Think about yourself, think about a manual transmission. If you've done squats, if you were doing squats the day before and you got really sore legs, how hard is it to push a clutch in with your left leg? It's pretty tough. And if you want to avoid that, you can just go with an automatic. Automatics are cool because they're already set up. They'll go in whatever gear that they think that they need to be in. And sometimes that's the right gear and sometimes it's the wrong gear. I'll drive an automatic and I'll be like, why did you switch gears right there? Are you kidding me? Why did you do that? I've got a Jeep. It's an automatic, and the turbo has a mind of its own. So it's got a 4-cylinder turbo, and the turbo has a mind of its own, meaning that I put on the gas. It takes like 2 or 3 or 4 seconds for the turbo to get the energy that it needs for the full force. Sometimes I'll put on the gas, and when I want to let go of the gas is when the turbo kicks in. And so I want to slow down, but my car automatically is thrusting me even more forward because of just the timing thing. And it can get really frustrating. It can get frustrating that it's not in the gear that I want. It can get frustrating that the turbo has a mind of its own. This is the same type of thing that can happen with XLR or USB. For the most part, if you use a USB mic, you're going to have at the back of your microphone this tiny little USB cord. And that USB, whether it's a micro USB or USB-C, it's going to go into your computer with either a USB or a USB-C or a micro USB. Either way, you're connecting your microphone into your laptop or your desktop, whether it's an Apple or a Mac or the other one. And you're going to be able to connect through there. And when using USB, that means that the computer has to use its own brain. The computer, for the most part, has to decide how loud to go or how quiet to go. The computer has to know how much gain to put into that microphone. And sometimes it's not the same amount of gain that you want. And when we switch from a USB, which is kind of like an automatic vehicle, when we switch to an XLR, there's pros and cons. With the XLR, you have the control. If you set your gain at X level, it's always going to be there. It doesn't change. If you lower your gain, it's going to lower. If you increase the gain, it's going to increase. When you put on the gas, it's changing gears. Anything you do with XLR, you have all the controls.